What's going on, too? I'm back with another reaction video. We got every NBA archetype in the NBA explained in 8 minutes, man. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe, man. Hit the notification bell. For real, I'm on the road to 100 subs, man. Let's go and get into the joint, though.
Time go. The garbage time goat. The garbage time goat usually makes other deep bench players look like youth league players.
Well,
this is usually a fan favorite, the man that comes in the game when your team is either up or down 30 points and just absolutely dominates. Their advanced stats are totally off the charts, and you'll find a cult-like group of fans who are convinced this guy can be an absolute stud. However, some part of their game just doesn't translate well against mid to high NBA level competition. But when we're talking about the bottom 10% of the league, they are on another level. These players could be superstars if they played in different leagues around the world.
It's a player in my head, but I can't think of one.
For their skill. Microwave scorer. These guys are absolutely electric.
You can think of a Jordan Clarkson.
For long stretches or even entire games, if they see a few shots go through the basket, they turn into prime Kobe Bryant. There's no worse guy to face off against than the microwave scorer, especially at the end of games. These are the type of guys who can hit insane buzzer beaters. Every shot they take is make or miss, regardless of the defense. The wild card. Arguably the most exciting players, these are viral clip machines. They seem to think they're playing street ball, and while it's usually exciting, they tend to hurt the team more than they can help. Sometimes the wild card can work as a role player on a team with strong veterans, but even then, they can drive their teammates crazy. The biggest difference between the wild card and the microwave scorer is effort. The microwave scorer always brings their best effort, even when the shots aren't falling. The same can't be said for the wild card. They seem to only care about making the flashy play, and if their shot isn't falling, it's going to be a long game. Defense is usually an afterthought for this archetype.
Oh, that's the last thought on my mind.
The fan. Imagine getting paid millions of dollars per year.
Nah, the clock, the answer is that is crazy.
That, my friends, is the definition of the fan. This is someone who might not even get in the game if it's a 30-point blowout. They're basically getting paid a few $1,000,000 per year to sit on the bench and cheer for their team. The fan rarely, if ever, ends up moving up the NBA ladder. Their career is usually pretty short, and they end up disappearing after their rookie.
Yeah, I disappeared. Because I haven't seen him. Didn't nobody else pick him up. After the... Look. After the Bucks didn't do whatever, I didn't see him on nobody else's team. He's only playing with Giannis.
But hey, they made the NBA, so
he's in the league. Hey, and it's another brother that's on the way.
Remember when Bruno Caboclo was drafted?
Who?
Bill Simmons famously said he was 2 years away from being 2 years away from being ready to play. That's the project in a nutshell. Once in a blue moon, these guys will pan out. Just take a look at Giannis. However, more often than not, we hear about how good they could be on draft night and then never hear about them again. They'll show some flashes, sometimes it'll be enough for other teams to take chances on them, but oftentimes they never reach their potential and end up falling out of the league before their prime years. The bust. The bust is a player drafted in the top 3 picks who ends up falling out of the league before they even hit their prime.
That's unfortunate.
They usually have a ton of hype, but as soon as their rookie season begins, cracks start to appear. Sometimes teams will hold on to a bust longer than they should, hoping that he'll turn things around. This rarely happens, but the teams don't really have a choice since they invested so much into the player. The biggest difference between the bust and the project is that the bust doesn't really have any redeeming qualities, while the project will occasionally show flashes that keep a team believing in their potential. Role player. The role player is the type of guy who always puts the team. Don't care about stats, accolades, or any of that.
It's good. It's always nice to have somebody like that on your team.
About these guys
if you don't, it's just like, dang.
As they're the most commonly traded players. The thing about role players is that they usually don't last long playing on bad teams. Since they care so much about winning, they don't mind taking a pay cut to join a contender. Bad team stud. This is one of the most misleading archetypes in the league. The bad team stud is so good, they usually earn some insane contract. Sometimes a budding contender will even splurge on them, only
Oh,
to be
you mean like
massively
when a decent
disappointed
player
when they
that goes
realize
to a
they
shitty
overpaid
team?
for a high-end role player.
Like
These guys usually end up going where the money takes them, which is why they end up on trash teams. Honestly,
Van Fleet.
it's hard to blame them. You get to be the star of your team and make a boatload of money. Winning
Not
would
even
obviously
like
be
Van
cool,
Fleet.
but everyone has different priorities. Defensive specialist. Imagine a defender that makes NBA superstars squirm when thinking about him. The defensive specialist is one of my favorites. They usually have some insane defensive instincts on top of a unique body type.
Yeah.
Sometimes these guys are so horrible at offense that they barely see the court.
No, I don't know
Other
about that.
times
That's
they end
something.
up
I don't know.
developing
I
enough
don't know
offense to
like
become
that.
a strong role player, or even better. The key for these guys is just to develop a three-point shot. Without that, they'll struggle to see the court. Still though, it's a fun guy to have on your bench. There are plenty of unique situations where they can be useful. Three-point specialist. This one's pretty self-explanatory. The three-point specialist is pretty much the complete opposite of the defensive specialist. They'll struggle to see the court. On the other hand, if their defensive abilities pass a certain threshold,
I might say if you can defend that, it'd be even better. You just be Peyton Pritchard.
If you're good enough at shooting threes, you'll probably find your way onto the court at least a little bit. Glue guy. Most championship teams have a guy like this. Sometimes they're the final piece that really takes a team to the next level. They're willing to do the dirty work, but they're also more capable than most think. If they need to score, they'll score. If they need to pass, they'll pass. They can always defend, and they're usually not afraid to get
don't be
into a
defending.
scrum. The glue guy is pretty much like the elite role player, injury-prone superstar. Your team is sort of a contender every year. It just depends on whether or not this guy is in street clothes or not. This has to be the most frustrating guy. They're so much fun to watch, and they can arguably be the best player in the league.
But that nigga been hurt. Zion. That nigga.
Every era seems to have a guy like this, and while some show us what their peak can actually look like, others keep us dreaming. If these guys put together a healthy season, they can win championships and MVPs. They're so hard to rank though because they're barely ever healthy. Aging superstar. Father time is undefeated.
About that time to sit down, ain't it?
Proof of that. Depending on the player, these guys can be sad to see as they fall off, but others are able to adapt their game and prove extremely useful until their retirement. While it must be tough to see a guy who once dominated the league be relegated to a role player, they have the potential to bring a strong veteran presence to any team. Some search for championships and will only join contenders, while others join rebuilding teams and help them form a winning culture. All-Star. The All-Stars don't have what it takes to win a championship as the best player, but they can be paired with other All-Stars to put together a highly competitive team. While you still need a player in one of the top tiers to win it all, these guys can make a team fun to watch. We're usually waiting to see if the All-Stars can graduate to the next level, and some do. Even the ones that don't are able to carve out long, exciting careers in the league. Superstar. If you surround a superstar with another all-star and strong role players, you're a legitimate contender. Even though the superstar might not be the best player on the court at all times, with a strong supporting cast, they can do what it takes to win it all. These aren't guys that will take any team in the league to the playoffs. They need some help, but that doesn't mean they aren't elite. They're your
Tatum may not even look like the best player on the court at the time, but they'll still be looking nice.
Although they usually don't end up winning. Generational. This is the guy that you can put on any team in the league and they'll make the playoffs. They're taking home the MVP trophy year after year, and with a decent supporting cast, they're always a threat to win it all. There are usually only a few guys like this in the league at a time. While the most common form of generational player is a top 5 draft pick who comes into the league with a ton of hype, we've seen guys in recent years who became generational after getting drafted later.
Yeah. That's pretty soon, man. Hey, man, that was a quick one, man. If y'all like this type of content, man, y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you have it, man. Send a recommended video if you can, man. I'm finna go and get out this joint, man. Peace.